What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Singing the Tea. I'm your host, Dustin, singer actor Lewis. You already know sometimes I sing, sometimes I give you all of the reality TV tea, but it's always going to be what you want and it's always going to be what you need. And listen, if you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell button so you can get all of the alerts when I drop something new. If you are returning, welcome back, fam. You already know how we do things right here. I appreciate y'all. Listen, today is a special day. I understand we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, but we got to talk real quick. Y'all, Beyonce is today is the first day of the tour, baby. So it's a good day for us. It's part of the Beehive. We got our Sir Davis in the back. We're gonna have us a good time today. I'm not drinking, but we're gonna still have us a good time, okay? But enough about that. Let's talk about these Real Housewives of Atlanta. I got one question for y'all. Do you think Porsha meant it when she said it? Because I think she said it. Do you think she meant it when she said it? And we're going to dive right on into it. So the episode opens up. They still in Nashville for Porsha's birthday party. They're having a good time. Everybody looks great. You know, the episode opens up with Shamia singing like a little like Western recap of what happened, of what was going on in Nashville. I could have done without that. Love Shamia down, but I could have done without that little scene. Just saying. It didn't move the needle neither way for me. I didn't think it was that funny, but I love Shamia. So there's that. So we see Britt having a conversation with her husband, and she's just kind of filling him in on everything. You know, she feels like, Angela is kind of just doing a little bit too much. Feels like Angela's kind of stirring the pot. And you know what? Angela is working, baby, and we are thankful for it. Angela is putting in the work. I'm letting y'all know she gets the awards, baby, for being the housewife this season. Angela is doing great work. Like, we have Shamia on like one end that's giving us like the great family life, and she's being a good friend. Like, Shamia is great. We have Angela on the other end, great as well. Like, they are really, really, really working this season, and I'm loving it. So, speaking of Shamia, she's checking in with her husband because I guess her baby was sick and she had a doctor's appointment. And, it's tough. She couldn't be there. And we've seen Shamia having an emotional moment with her husband because she can't be there, But the doctor lets her know that, things are okay. So, I really love Shamia. And she talks about, her husband and how he sacrificed things and how he really shows up and he's a good man. And she's saying, he wants a son. And she's like, I want to give that to him. If it's in God's plan for them to have that child, she's willing to do that. And you know what? I hope that they are able to have a kid. I hope that, well, another one, excuse me. Hope they're able to have their son. So I really hope that works out for them because I love me some Shmia. So Cynthia and Angela have a conversation outside about the night before. And Angela just kind of feels like she's loyal to her friends. Like, her friends groups and her friends, she is loyal to them. And she's just trying to give Drew that support, right? She's trying to show up for Drew. She feels like Drew should be there. I kind of feel like Drew should be there too. But she feels like the ladies don't get it overall. And Angela, I think that you do a good job of supporting Drew, and I feel like you do a good job of trying to hold people accountable. I think sometimes the way you do it, your delivery is a little off. But overall, girl, keep doing what you're doing. But you say that Drew is coming, and we see her pull up. Drew comes on in, baby. And I'm with you. When Angela was saying, backtrack a little bit, when she was having a conversation with Cynthia and she was saying she feels like Drew and Porsha just need to have a conversation, she's 100% right. Like, at this point, have the conversation because Porsha, you doing way too much. Drew, you doing way too much on the other end as well. Now, here's where it gets interesting when Drew shows up. Now, when Drew shows up, Drew's like, I decided to show up on this trip, to show an olive branch, to extend the olive branch. Thanks for the invite, Angela. Whoa, 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 baby. I get you want to have that moment. You want to have that conversation with Porsha. You want to work on that relationship. You want to do all of those things. I get it. I love it. You think it's amazing. However, right story, wrong scenario. I think that doing it on the girls' trip in real life, right? Because this is a show. In real life, you would never do that. Like, I don't feel like you would never get on a plane and go and fly to somebody's event to try to work it out with them if you aren't there. So I think that that's a little bit weird. But once again, I get it for the show. Y'all doing work. So I'm here for it. So we see Drew. She's having conversations and she makes it to Angela's room. Now this is where it gets funny to me. And Angela, you messy, baby. You are messy. You was like, oh, Drew. You first of all, you laughing off top, and you know when somebody give you some tea and they laughing, you already know it's gonna be some mess. So when Angela was like, oh, girl, yeah, your room is right over there, girl. Let me know how you like it. You already knew that was gonna be some mess. Now, Drew, I gotta give you a little bit though, because here's the thing, Drew. You talking about some? Oh, I feel like the room is for an orphanage. Drew, you were supposed to be at home. Drew, you wasn't supposed to be on this trip. So my dear, whatever room they get you, if they would have had a pull-out couch for you to sleep on, you should have took it and been grateful, baby. One, because they included you, so you still getting these checks for being on the show. Two, you wasn't supposed to be there no way. For you get your own room, bunk beds or not, that's a blessing in itself, girl. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, girl. You're doing a little too much. Be grateful. Be blessed. Be prosperous. And Angela, you doing the good work. You keep it up, Angela. You doing what you need to do. Now, after we had that whole room situation, because it was real funny, I have to tell y'all that was hilarious. But Drew, you was a little ungrateful for me. You were a little too ungrateful for my liking. Okay. Now, when you go back in the room, you talk to Angela because you just say, you know, you're gonna spend a lot of time in her room. Angela was like, you know, have you talked to Porsha? And you said, you know, no. Like, why would I have a conversation with her? What you mean, Drew? Like, you need to have that conversation with Porsha. You really need to have that sit down. Y'all need to have that sit down. I'm not even gonna put it all on you, but y'all do need to have that sit down. And just going back to the conversation that Angela and Cynthia was having, and then Cynthia and Porsha has a conversation later. The thing is, and I think that Porsha is gonna be Porsha, right? She's gonna be Porsha. Drew is gonna be Drew. Where the disconnect is, and we've talked about this before, by that being a girl baby daddy, you should have had a conversation before you even attempted to have him on camera with you. That should have been a conversation from jump. If you were as close with her as you say you were, you should have pulled her aside and you should have talked to her. And that's all I'm gonna say on that, Drew. You really should have. So Angela is like, you know, I really feel like you and Porsha, Drew, y'all need to have that conversation. And she's like, you know, why? Why do I need to have a conversation? And Angela just let her know, girl, I'm over here in battle. I'm in war, baby. I'm tired of this. This your mess. You clean it up. This ain't got nothing to do with me. You come and collect your things, Miss Mamas, and you go on about your day. Angela says she is done trying to defend you. She is done trying to ride for you. You here. It's time for you to step up and collect your check. She said, you got to work for your check, baby, because I'm tired. I done already put in this work. All these girls is hot with me. It's time for you to do what you got to do, Drew. And I'm going to be real with you. Angela, I agree. Make her work for hers. Make her work for hers. Listen, let me tell y'all something about Angela. When she was in that confessional and they were like, you know, well, how do you feel? Would you do it again? Baby, she stood 10 toes down and said, if I had to do it again, I surely would. I would invite her again. And see, Angela, that's what I like. Angela is doing the work this season. Listen, Angela is working. She's cool. She's even killed for the most part. She'll gaslight you in a minute, but it's good TV. Angela, you all right with me, baby. We want you. We want more of Angela. We want more of Angela. Miss 90 knows. Absolutely. So we see the ladies getting ready for the day, and I'm gonna be real with y'all. When I saw Kelly coming out, I didn't know where we was going. I didn't know what venue we was going to. I didn't know what type of establishment they was gonna let them people walk in there with that on. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what the weather was like because baby, it was just pasties and just booty everywhere. Pasties and booty. Pasties and booty. That should have been the name of this episode. Boots on the ground. No, pasties and booty should have been the name of this episode because they had it going on. It's too much. And I'm trying not to cuss, but I really want to get the cussing on here. But I'm not. Because some of y'all say y'all like when I don't cuss. So I'm gonna keep it real classy based for my crew. Now we see Shamia and Porsha having a conversation before they get ready to go. Now Porsha had them rib bones in the bathroom. Porsha, you just ate the ribs for breakfast. Let me tell you something. As a big back connoisseur myself, girl, I ain't mad at you. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. When you have a barbecue, 4th of July, Juneteenth, Easter, Christmas, baby, whenever you got up in there, oh, can you make some breakfast? Baby, it's plenty of breakfast in there. It's baked beans, it's rib, It's hamburger, it's hot dog, it's hot link, it's whatever you need. You got all that. We're not cooking no breakfast. We're not cooking no eggs. If you want eggs, it's eggs in the mac and cheese. It's deviled eggs in there. If you want you some eggs, you better chop them up and make it do what it do. That's what I'm talking about, Portia. You a resourceful type of woman in more ways than one, and we're gonna talk about that as well. Now, Portia is having a conversation with Shamia, and she just feels like Angela is gaslighting her about the situation with Drew. Like she doesn't understand like why she would bring it up in the way that she did, why she's trying to force Drew on this trip, knowing that she didn't invite her. I can understand that perspective. But Portia, let the girl on the trip and y'all just have a good time. But I will say this: Portia was cool when it came to Drew. Like she greeted Drew with a hug. Like they was cool. They was cool for the most part. I think that Portia handled that pretty well until we get to the end of the episode. Um, so when they get in the sprinter, we see Shamia have an emotional moment. And she's talking about getting a text message from someone, and it was essentially about her abusive ex that she had. I think she said it was her first husband. And seeing her vulnerable like that, and, seeing her emotional early as well, it was just a lot for her to take. And I think she was a little overwhelmed. And one thing that I kind of noticed is I think that she felt bad for having that moment because it was her friend's situation. I think that Shamia didn't want to make it about her. But Shamia, I'm glad that you let us in. I'm glad that you shared that. And I'm glad that you had that moment. And it just makes us even love you even more because Shamia is a real cool girl. And I hate that she went through that, especially when she said, he knocked out her first pair of red bottoms, like, and she was saying she was embarrassed, she didn't know what to do. A lot of women go through that, and I want to say this: if you are in a situation, you have a friend in a situation, get help, reach out to somebody and get some help, y'all, because those situations are nothing to play with. Make sure you get you some help. Cynthia even talked about her mom, and they brought up that event. I think that was Kenya's event, actually. Now that I think about it, I think that was Kenya's event that they had a couple of seasons back, but it was a good moment to see that. And also we miss Kenya. We do miss Kenya. So but Shamia, we love you. We hate that happened to you, girl, but we wish you nothing but the best. So they make it to the events and it is divided. So we have half the girls going to one side. So we have Kelly, Shamia, and we have Porsha at the Coyote Ugly. And then we have the rest of the ladies, Angela, Britt, um, Cynthia, and Drew at the whiskey tasting. Now, the whiskey tasting was real classy based. It was real classy. The man said you do the stuff with the straw, hold it in, boop, boop, boop. Get your different samples of the whiskey. Funny, a friend of mine, she went there and she said it's a real good time. It's a real good time. She ain't take me, but that's neither here nor there. This ain't got nothing to do with me or her. I'ma handle that later. Now, when they went to Coyote Ugly, y'all is mothers. And y'all was up on this bar, getting down with the get down. And the next time that y'all do that, hit my phone up so I can be over there with y'all. I love a good shot. I love to turn up on the bar. I love to get Coyote Ugly from time to time. I wanted to go to both. First of all, we start off classy with this good whiskey, so that we warmed up. Because once you drink that whiskey, getting your bones, you get limber. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like that. You get limber. Then you can go to Coyote Ugly. You can do the two-step on the bar. That's what y'all should have did. Everybody should have been at these events together. But it was a good time. It was nice seeing everybody have those conversations. Now, when they're at the event, we're gonna start with the whiskey. And Drew said, she wanted to buy Portia a bottle. She wanted to buy Portia a bottle, we wanted to bring it to her. Now when Cynthia had said, yeah, because she got that call. Portia been having that call from the start of this season to now. Portia, you need to get that checked out. It's something stuck in your throat. It could be a chicken bone, it could be feathers, it could be anything, girl. But you definitely need to get that checked out. That cough should not be lingering for as long as it is. You need you a throat lozenge. You need you some good tussin. You need a good hot toddy. That's what you need, girl, to knock that cough up out of you. That is too much. Now, we switch back over to Kelly, Shamia and Portia. And Kelly is asking Portia, Kelly's doing the work as well. Kelly is doing the work this season as well. But Kelly is asking Portia, what was up with your friends? Like when they was asking about Drew, like, are they friends with her? She's trying to figure out what's going on. And Portia just explains, all of us are friends. They were looking for, you know, they were trying to figure out what was going on. But she said, well, her issue was the way that Angela was saying, hey, I invited her. And Portia just feels like Angela is trying to honestly set Drew up. And I never thought about that until she was having the conversation. And then when Shamia gave her piece, and she was like, well, when me and Angela was riding to the peace brunch, she was saying that she had an issue with Kelly and Drew. So, Angela, are you kind of throwing Drew under the bus? I don't think that. But is that what you were doing? Maybe slightly. Not really. I think that Angela just wanted to see it get started. And Angela, that's okay. I'm with you. I'm glad you did it. But I thought that was really interesting. So we switch back over and we go to Angela having a conversation with the ladies, and she brings up inviting Drew, and she feels like she hurt Porsha by doing that, and I think she kind of regrets doing it in a sense. But I think that Angela's thing was like, okay, y'all on this trip, it's gonna force y'all to have this conversation. That's what I'm wanting to happen. And when Britt chimes in and she gives her piece and she's like, well, Angela, I feel like you play the victim when it comes to situations. Like you'll do something like that, and then when somebody gives you honestly what you're looking for, you want to be like, well, what do you mean? What's happening here? I can kind of see where they're coming from with that, Angela. Now, Britt, when you brought up the brunch and just not being supported, I think you brought up on saying what you said about Angela because you just wanted to bring up the situation about you. I really do. And it's crazy. Kenya not even here, but we still talking about Kenya. Y'all ain't saying her name, but we still talking about her. Let's be real. And Britt didn't feel supported when they had the peace brunch. Angela and Drew feel like her energy was a little bit off. And I love what Cynthia said here. And when Cynthia was like, now hold on. No matter what the energy she came with, this lady just went through something where we saw her on poster boards doing what she did. I can get where she coming from with that. And I know a lot of people are giving Cynthia a hard time because they feel like she should ride for Kenya a little bit more. Here's the thing. I love Kenya. Both of them were wrong. They were both wrong. One wrong could be a little bit higher than the other, but they were both wrong. And I think the thing is, if I went through a situation like that, or if somebody else went through a situation like that, and you see pictures of you doing something, a private act between you and another individual, you'll be a little bit bothered by that. And when you hear somebody trying to defend that and saying that, oh, it was equal, it will bother you. So I can understand where Britt's coming from. So I think that Cynthia had a good point there. And saying that, we can support her and still miss our friend and support our friend in the same token. So I get where Cynthia was coming from in that regard. So it was nice when they acknowledged Britt's feelings. Britt just wanted to be acknowledged, and it's good to see them move forward from it. Hopefully this is it. We can be done. Now, they get on the sprinter. Everybody's heading back. And, baby, they 2 sheets to the wind, baby. They is towed up. Everybody towed up. But when we make it back to the house, we see Cynthia and Britt having a conversation, and Britt is just thanking her for essentially supporting her in that moment. So that was nice as well to see her and for her to feel supported by somebody. So that's really, really good. Now listen, this is where I feel like it starts to take a little bit of a turn. Everybody getting ready to go to dinner. Porsha has created this wonderful dinner for everybody to have at the house and just chill. Porsha's on the phone with Dennis. She's speaking to her baby. Everything is cool. Porsha looked lovely. I love the outfit she had on. We see everybody coming down, everybody looking good. Giving real Cowboy Carter thing. Everybody look great. Porsha come down in all black, dressed like the Omen baby, and that's the vibe that she was giving. When I tell y'all Porsha was the vibe killer in that scene, it was like, Porsha, I get it. I understand that you got some information that had you a little hot, but your energy was so off. I would have told you, I understand this your birthday dinner, but we're going to bring you a plate to your room because you don't need to bring that down here and sit with us. It was way too much, Porsha. And I think the thing that's annoying with Porsha is you have an issue. You got one or two options. Talk about it or get over it. But sitting up here soaking and then making everybody else uncomfortable, it's just not cool. And I understand that you found out information that Dennis was filming with Drew. You ain't want them to film together, but it happened. Let's move forward. How can we move forward? She's trying to have a conversation with you about it. You don't want to have the conversation. So what is there left for us to do? There's nothing left for us to do. So Porsha, you're gonna have to figure out what you need to do for us to move forward with this, because it's at this point it's way too much. It's too much. It's not that deep. I get it. Once again, Drew is wrong for trying to film with him. He's wrong for trying to film with her. And you acknowledge that when you'll talk to Cynthia a little bit later. But once again, how can we move forward? Because the way you're moving about this is just uncomfortable for everybody. Now, when, they get to the dinner, before they get there, we see the little line dancing. That was cute, baby. Ain't nobody got rhythm but Shamia. Shamia was out there getting down. Everybody else was trying to find their two left feet. It was a mess. But it was a cute scene, though. Now, they start talking about the whiskey tasting. Porsha is not in the mood, baby. Britt, she kind of, her and Angela talk about, they try to hash it out. And Angela was like, you told me that I can be the victim, but I don't really see that. I'm not really seeing how I can do that. And I would say this, Angela, you can't come off where you gaslight people and you do come off a little passive aggressive. But girl, this is a show and I'm here for it, baby. You keep doing what you do, girl. You keep doing what you do. But I will say that you can deflect. And, Shamia kind of calls you on that when she says, hey, Porsha feels like you kind of gaslight her. Now, here's the thing again. You were trying to figure out, hey, Porsha, what have I done to make you feel this way? Porsha, I don't remember. So, Porsha, how can we move forward? So, Angela tries to apologize. She tries to apologize, but Porsha wasn't happening. And this is where, too, to me, the gaslighting piece a little bit with Angela, when they were talking about the invite. And, she feels like she was wrong for inviting Drew. Would she do it again? Yeah. But, she's trying to own her part. Was like, you know what? I ain't have to do it the way I did. And then she was like, well, I didn't know that Porsha didn't invite her. How do I know that Drew wasn't invited? And everybody's like, she wasn't on the call. If she wasn't on the call, do you know she wasn't invited? But she was like, how do I know Drew just didn't answer the call? And Drew was like, everybody's asking, Drew, did you get a call? Did you get an invite? And she's like, no. Angela, you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. It's okay, but you're working, girl. You're putting in the work. Now, Angela, you started deflecting, baby, and it was good to me because you brought up some stuff that didn't even matter. And I was a little confused where you were trying to go with this. But you were saying you were trying to hold people accountable. I get it. But bringing up the conversation that Porsha and that Porsha and Kelly had earlier in the season, that was just a little unwarranted. Like, I didn't think that you should have brought that up because it was literally apples and oranges. It was not the same. I get what you're saying, the accountability piece. I totally get that. You're trying to hold Porsha accountable. But it's, once again, wrong scenario. It didn't fit what was going on at the time. Like, it's totally two different situations. It's two different situations. Once again, I can understand where you were coming from, but two different situations. But once again, Angela gonna stand 10 toes down in what she said. And I like that about her. Now, Drew tries to address the situation. And Drew was like, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Porsha, I brought you some whiskey. I brought you a bottle of whiskey. I hope me being here doesn't make you uncomfortable. Porsha's like, you straight. When I tell you that was good to me, and Drew was like, okay, well, I'm going to go. Listen, Drew couldn't take. I'm going to be real. Drew couldn't take when she did that. I don't know what Drew was expecting. Porsha paid her dust. The thing, though, I'm going to be real. The thing I love when Porsha had those moments like that, it slick be good to me because it'd be like, girl, it's just so, it's real passive aggressive. It's real nice, nasty. Porsha be doing that. She's really, really good at that. It's ooh. TV wise, it's good. And you know what? I would rather Porsha do that than Porsha be attacking people. Because y'all know Porsha, I'm glad she packed her boxing gloves up and she put them away in her corner and we're not seeing her get booked. No more. So I'd rather take this Porsha instead of Porsha just ripping out somebody's weave extensions and beating them up and dragging them across the floor. So I would rather this type of Porsha. I'm just saying. So Drew gets upset. She leaves. The ladies want her to stay, but child, she is gone. So everybody's getting ready to go back up. Like I said, Cynthia and Porsha had a conversation. But child, they had a conversation. They came to a resolution. They good. Now they get ready to have this pool party. This is where it gets messy again. Everybody at the pool. Everybody looking good. Once again, booties and pasties everywhere. They having a good time at the pool. Angela, baby, she was like Rapunzel, baby, up there. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your nose. She was at the window, baby, gazing upon them at the pool, just looking, lurking. She started hearing her name and her husband's name, according to what Angela was saying on the TV chat. Baby, Angela said she got the recording, and they show her record, but you can't really hear nothing. It wasn't audible, right? Apparently, what Angela said, now this is alleged, don't come from my Amazon things, baby. I gotta go see Beyonce later on this year. According to what Angela had heard, Angela said, y'all, Angela said she heard Porsha and them talking about her dress. Talk about her dress. Now, Angela, let's talk about that first before we get too deep. Angela, I do think some of your outfits were but you wasn't alone. Y'all know the thing about Angela? I think Angela is like the same age as like, because Porsha's not like super young, but she's not old. Angela honestly gives like she's more of the age of Cynthia, but she's not that old. Like she's not, but I don't know what it is. It's just her vibe. Like honestly, she's very mature. It's nothing wrong with her. Like she's cool, beautiful woman, but she does skew like she's a little bit older than like the rest of the ladies. Anyway, so she said that she heard things about Porsha. They were talking about the way that she dressed, talking about her, and then she hears Porsha allegedly saying something about getting with her man. Now, when Kelly was in her confessional, Kelly said that she heard something like that too. Britt was saying that she allegedly, Shamia saying that she saw him around town and he might got a baby out there. That's what Britt had said earlier. It's a lot going on. So they was in her out there. So Angela said, you know what? She said they want me to come down, so I'm gonna go ahead and go on down. So we see Angela come down. She tried to have a conversation with Porsha. Porsha's like, girl, ain't nobody bring up your man. She go up the stairs because she not trying to do it. Porsha said she didn't say anything. Porsha was on that good Henny. See, that's why y'all gotta stop drinking that Hennessy. I done told y'all need to get like me and drink some gin. Drink some, well, wait a minute. Okay, don't do that either. Drink water. Just drink water when y'all on these events and these trips so y'all can have a good clean mind, a good clean spirit, and ain't nothing tainting your words or none of that. You good. So I would just say drink plenty of water when you on these trips. Now, Angela, she was hot behind that. She feels real disrespected. And I'm going to be real with you. I will too. And when Angela was in her confessional, she said, when Porsha says stuff like that, you got to believe her. Because we've seen her do it before. I said, she'll be back next season. She'll be back next season. Absolutely. Angela is too good. Like, Angela, where have you been? Like, why haven't we? You should have been on here past seasons. Like, I would have loved to see Angela with the likes of Nene, with the likes of Sheree, with the likes of Lisa Wu. Like, with those, like Angela would do so well with them. Like, and she's doing great with this crowd too. But Angela is such a great addition to the show. She is good. She is so good. Now, when they in the morning, when they get ready to leave, Kelly goes up and she try to have, a little pleasantries with Angela. And Angela say, good morning. She's like, listen, I ain't about that fake. I ain't trying to be fake, girl. Go ahead. Angela was not in the mood for Kelly. And we see Angela and Drew head in their car and they leave. And y'all, that's where the episode ends. I am telling you, that ending was really good. I don't know what it is about Porsha and being recorded. There's always something happening on a girls trip with Porsha. Or Porsha, maybe you need to stop going on girls trips because something always happens with you. Y'all, that was a pretty good episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I enjoyed it overall. I hope y'all did as well. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the review here. Once again, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share with the family members, share with the friends, share with the person next to you at the cubicle. We want to grow our community here. I appreciate each and every one of you who has joined and subscribed so far. Thank you so much. But with that being said, have a good one, everybody.